PSG advantage. They've just turned up to the Emirates, scored, and got a clean sheet. I was completely wrong in my prediction. They have just shut me right up. We need to talk about Arteta's game plan and tactics. We also need to speak about Martin Ødegaard. Arsenal fans coming out saying they want him dropped. Interesting. And look, take nothing away. Luis Enrique tonight coached a very, very, very good win. Donnarumma made 2 or 3 world-class saves. Arsenal, it's not over yet. They have got to put one monumental performance over in Paris. PSG now have massive advantage. They go in, they come to the Emirates and absolutely played their lives out. But Martin Ødegaard is getting pelters, absolute pelters. Is he good enough? Is he not good enough? We're going to break it all down. Make sure you go down, drop a like on the video if you haven't already. Make sure you check out the video from earlier today. I had a bit of a rant again about this football club. Who would have thought it? But, yeah, that's what it does. It's so frustrating. It's beyond belief. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're steamrolling our way towards 60K. I want to talk about the game plan from Arsenal tonight. More possession from PSG, more shots from PSG, higher passing accuracy from PSG. They got their game plan spot on, absolutely spot on. Arsenal, however, didn't have the best of starts. They didn't. They're 1-0 down. They're not pressing. There's no desire. Energy levels are dropping. Like, I don't know. For PSG, they got off the mark in just over 3 minutes. And that knocked the stuffing out of Arsenal. Dembélé picks up the ball deep, drives into midfield. He's allowed to carry it a long way. Passes it out to Kvaratskhelia on the left. Plays it into Dembélé. Hits it with his shin. Bounces off the post in the back of the net. The minute they scored that goal, Arsenal didn't have a game plan for the next 15 minutes. Sideways, backwards. Is it naivety from Arteta? Is it a lack of confidence from Arteta? You looked at the Arsenal-Real Madrid game, playing against 15 times Champions League winners. There was energy. There was pressing. There was an intent. There was a game plan. There was decent football being played. And other than, like, don't get me wrong, 2 unbelievable saves, one in the first half, one in the second half from Donnarumma. I don't really know what Arteta's game plan was. They had to win 2 or 3-0 tonight. They had to go in and score at least 2 goals. But now they find themselves 1-0 down. Saka had a decent chance towards the end of the half. There was yellow cards. Donnarumma made 2 really good saves in the first half. You know, Arsenal having an XG of 1.22 and PSG's only 0.29, and you find yourself 1-0 down. They equalise in the 50th minute. It's ruled out from VAR, Marino being offside. What I want to talk about is Martin Ødegaard. How he survives 90 minutes on that football pitch, I don't know. If that was my captain tonight, I'd be smashing things up. And serious questions now have to be asked about if Odegaard is actually that guy. When it comes down to crunch time, when it comes down to these big games, I don't think he's that good in the 10. I'm going to say it. If it rattles some feathers, so be it. I don't think, if you look at the 10s around the world, Bruno Fernandes, when it comes down to crunch time, turns up for Man United. Scoring assisting in the FA Cup final, scoring the penalty to drag them back against Lyon, scoring in the FA Cup where they beat Man City, scoring in the Community Shield. You look at him as a 10. You look at Jude Bellingham as a 10. You look at Kevin De Bruyne as a 10. You look at Foden when he got the PFA Player of the Year. You look at Musiala. You look at Florian Wirtz. You look at all of these 10s, and Ødegaard just isn't like. When it comes down to that final ball, his final ball isn't as good as other players. He may be able to play in the 8 alongside Declan Rice or alongside Partey, whoever it may be on the day. But I just don't think I don't think he's a good enough 10. I'll be brutally honest with you guys. And then I also look at for instance, Wanyeri. Wanyeri comes on in the 91st minute. What is he supposed to do 5 minutes into a game? When the game's like that, that's a sub you make on the hour mark. You look at Luis Enrique on the hour mark. He brings on Barcola or 70 minutes in, he brings on Barcola for Ousmane Dembélé. On the 75th minute, he brings on Gonçalo Ramos for Desiree Doué. You know, he brings on Emery for João Neves. I think he coached a very, very, very good win. I think he surprised a lot of people. They are an excellent footballing team, you know. But that's night and day in terms of that team where Arsenal beat them. The way they played tonight was miles better than the way they played at the Emirates before. Mendes, again, you know, made Salah have a stink fest against him. Saka couldn't really get the better of him. Hakimi played well tonight. That midfield right now is probably the best midfield in Europe. Fabian Ruiz, Vitinha, João Neves. João Neves was excellent today. Absolutely excellent. He was class. Absolutely class. Like, in terms of the performance, Donnarumma will probably be man of the match. I'd closely follow it by Neves, Marquinhos, Kvaratskhelia did good. Obviously, Timber got injured. But you're looking around at that Arsenal team and going, right, Declan Rice stepped up before. Who's going to step up now? Saka stepped up at the Bernabeu. Who's going to step up second leg? It's not over. It's absolutely not. But they have to be better than that. You know, they could go and have a really, really good performance, score a couple of goals, score early, and who knows? Who knows? They're in the final. But PSG, knowing the fact it's at Paris, knowing the fact that, you know, it's how they're playing right now, they're going to be massive, massive favourites. Huge favourites. You know, you look at the way Arsenal played against Real Madrid. Let me just show you their stats, right? The first leg against Real Madrid. Look at the difference in how clinical they were that game. 12 shots, 11 on target, 54% possession, 489 passes. Right? So more possession than Real Madrid, more shots on target than Real Madrid, more shots in terms of corners, more corners. That performance compared to tonight against PSG was night and day. Absolutely night and day. You know, they had more shots against Real Madrid, more shots on target against Real Madrid. They averaged more possession against Real Madrid. They had more corners against Real Madrid, a higher passing accuracy. What went wrong tonight for Arsenal? Please let me know down below. But I'll be honest, Martin Ødegaard, huge questions have to be asked. Huge questions. Let me know your thoughts down below. Make sure you drop a like. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. In terms of the second leg, and of course, is next week, next Wednesday, 8 p.m. in Paris. It's going to be a very, very interesting game, knowing the fact that Arsenal have got Bournemouth on Saturday. The Premier League title is done. You have to, absolutely have to, rest everyone, Arteta. He can't go and play. If I was Arteta, if I'm a manager in that game, I'm playing a back four of Tierney, Zinchenko, Kivior, and maybe Timber. I'm resting Saliba. I'd rest Declan Rice. I'd rest Saka. You know, PSG is going to be a very, very, very difficult tie to go and overturn a 1-goal deficit in Paris. Is it too far for them? I don't know. If they score early, maybe. If they play like they did against Real Madrid, they can do it. But it's going to be very, very, very difficult. Looking at the way that they played, looking at the way that PSG is set up, game management by PSG, it's going to be very, very difficult for them. Very difficult. Let me know your thoughts down below. Make sure you drop a like. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. I am